Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Cutie Honey? Yes, welcome again. Can We Talk About podcast here? Still neck deep in movie land. Probably deeper than that, given what we're reviewing today. Only a podcast like this can take you from black comedy musical to genre classic to 70s B-movie.
To whatever this bullshit is.
We're probably not the first podcast to follow that pattern. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think... There's so many podcasts out there. We're definitely not the first.
Yes, I think maybe the more popular ones are a little bit more cohesive with the material that they cover. Maybe. Just a little bit.
I mean...
That's not our podcast.
Our selection process isn't exactly the most highly engineered on the planet. It's just, let's do this. Okay. And that's it.
Yeah. There you go, a deep dive into what the Can We Talk About process is. Okay.
Pulling the curtain back. This week, it is the live-action Cutie Honey movie from 2004. I am a man of many faces myself, much like Honey. My name is Joe.
I'm Jim in the holograms. I'm Kristen.
And it's time we get to talking about Cutie Honey. Now, Kristen, what do you know about Cutie Honey?
I know I've seen people cosplay Cutie Honey and never actually knew what it was from for a really long time, but thought it was cute, and that's about as far as my knowledge goes.
Great. Well, Cutie Honey started life as a manga series in the 1970s by the prolific mangaka Go Nagai. Kristen, do you know who Go Nagai is?
Devilman and Mazinga Z.
Hey, because you're reading my notes.
Yes,
Damn
I
it.
am. I definitely heard of him before, so give me some credit.
Okay, very good. Yes, he's got a lot of stuff in addition to Cutie Honey. He created, yes, Devilman and Mazinger Z, or Mazinger Zetto, because we're the only people that pronounce Z like Z. But both Cutie Honey and Mazinger, whatever, however you may want to pronounce it.
Bazinga!
Please, no, Kristen, oh my god! Hellfire!
I just said the code word!
They ended up paving the way for a lot of future series. It's kind of one of those, I was reading, Kristen, on TV Tropes today, and I hate how much I'm going to TV Tropes now.
That's our Wikipedia.
Seinfeld is unfunny, being, basically genre classics being just like, why do people like this? It's boring, when they were completely revolutionary at the time.
Yep, it's the Jackson Pollock, I guess, of anime.
It's one of the first of the sort of super magical girl genre. I almost combine them together. Super robot with a pilot would be Mazinger, and magical girl, or at least with magical girl elements, would be Cutie Honey, even though a lot of Go Nagai's stuff borders, I shouldn't even say borders, he's, pretty, in the 70s, he pushed the envelope a lot, Kristen. There's
some butts and some boobs.
A lot of gross out humor, things like that. And this was shit that he had published in like Shonen Jump. Apparently he paved the way for the ecchi genre as well. So I thank him
God.
for that.
Thank you. I would have never read Love Hina when I was a teenager without him.
Did you read Love Hina, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Time is weird, let's stop.
But yes. Anyway, so yeah, Cutie Honey, Magical Girls, Mazinger, giant robots with a pilot in them helped to pioneer that and Get a Robo, which I love me some Get a Robo. Don't know much about Mazinger.
I like Magical Girls, so as I mentioned at the end of last week's episode, my friend and old roommate E got pretty into like Revolutionary Girl Utena and Cutie Honey around the same time, but I was just kind of like in the periphery of that, just kind of vaguely paying attention. And after watching this movie, I think I might need to get into Cutie Honey for reals.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of media available for it, but going back to giant robots for a second, it is worth noting, Kristen, that the director of this movie is one Hideaki Anno, which is a name I hope you're familiar with.
Yes, but why?
It just so happens that he was the director, writer, and other such things for one Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Ah, that was it!
Very popular anime series, so I mean, when I see Anno's name attached to this, and I know what Cutie Honey is, like I don't know too much. I saw some OVA episodes thanks to just wasting time at cons of Cutie Honey, but like seeing Anno's name, I'm like, I expect a lot out of this movie, and maybe I held it to a bit of a high standard because of that, because he also happened to direct my favorite anime of all time, Kristen, Gunbuster.
Which I've never seen.
Gunbuster it's 6 episodes.
So I guess I don't really have an excuse, do I?
And no, you do not.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. So
as far as the actors in this film, Kristen, I have no idea who any of them are. I mean, this isn't really like high cinema like Rashomon was, where, there's not like, Hideaki Anno and Eriko Sato worked on 17 different movies together. No, it's just Eriko Sato is our female lead, and she is a popular model idol, maybe? At the time? I'm not certain.
I'm looking up the voice talent.
Oh, right, of course. We forgot to mention, I watched the Japanese version of the movie with subtitles. Kristen, you watched the dub, which I think was my main reason for wanting to do this, in addition to, E suggesting it, and I always like Cutie Honey, so why not? But I like the sort of comparison between dub and sub when it comes to some things, just to see, what might have been changed, or just in general how, for something as ridiculous as this, how ridiculous the dub ends up being.
Yeah, and it, dub and sub is not like a war word phrase here. Like, you and I kind of, I think, after exiting our very critical teenage phase, we're not gonna start fights about dubs and subs, because some are good, some are better than others, and that's just kind of how it is.
Given the choice, I'm not gonna watch a dub.
Oh yeah.
That's just how it goes for me.
Now remind me, have you watched the dub of Bacano?
Yes, it's been a while though. It's probably, I'm talking first year of college, I think I watched it, so that was 6 years ago.
Yeah, that is excellent. So there are certain ones where if you don't particularly feel like watching subtitles, it's this is a perfectly good substitute. You want to watch this anime that takes place in the 1930s in America, and you want to hear all those good Boston accents, why not?
Hey, go for it. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, hey, I mean, I like the idea of just comparison between the two, and it may be more similar than we think, Kristen. I mean, I didn't exactly write down exact phrases or anything that I was just oh, this might sound weird in the dub, because I didn't really think about it. But back to Cutie Honey for a second. I mean, it's had various incarnations since the 1970s, anime, OVAs, as I mentioned. Apparently, Kristen, a new film came out on October 1st, so...
Man!
We are being accidentally relevant again.
How does this keep happening?
We failed to mention, because I didn't think about it at the time. I knew that there was a Death Race remake coming out, but last week's episode, Death Race 2000, between the recording of that and the release of it, which is going to be this week, it's not released yet, a trailer for the movie for Death Race 2050 came out, and it looks so bad.
It looks terrible. Nobody gave them the memo that, just because it's a B movie doesn't mean that you need to keep doing the cleavage thing.
Kristen, it's Roger Corman. The man's 91 years old. He's not giving up the B movie thing.
I gotta see the boobs before I die.
I don't know. Maybe we'll come to that just because I don't know. Maybe it'll toe the line, but it looks really, not good bad like Death Race 2000 was.
We will have to judge with our eyes and our ears. If they could have gotten David Carradine in it, I might have said, fuck it, I don't care. This is great.
It would have been nice, but alas. Often, at this point, we would play a song from the movie. There is a redone version of the Cutie Honey theme song that I think was used as an OP for one of the... I forget if it was an OVA or an anime series that came out shortly after this movie. But it's the Cutie Honey theme song is pretty famous, so let's just put that in here and enjoy for your listening pleasure, and we will get into this crazy-ass movie, Cutie Honey.
Hope you like Japan.
So we start off, Kristen, with a cat.
That was my first note, too.
Cat, in all capital letters, is my first note, which doesn't show up very much in this movie, and I don't think has a name. I believe she just refers to him as Cat-san.
My biggest criticism with this movie is that the cat character isn't explored adequately.
We see a woman humming in a bathtub. This is Honey. Honey, our heroine of this movie. Taking a bath is great, is what she says. I prefer showers.
Shower caps don't work like how she's wearing it.
For a bath? I mean...
Well, first of all, yeah, she's not in any great danger of getting water on her head. Also, her bangs are out. Like, if she wants to keep her hair dry, put the bangs in.
You know, Kristen, I don't look at these things when I'm watching a woman in the bathtub. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess it's like looking in a mirror for me. But the most important thing is, as she is talking about how great it is to take a bath and sinks down underneath the bubbles, I get to hear an English speaker go, "Yeah."
Great, wonderful. So we're off to a great start. She probably did something similar, but of course, when it's done in Japanese, you don't think it's too weird compared to somebody in English doing that.
Yeah, we don't really have acceptable cute verbal tics in English.
So at this point, she receives a call from, I put her uncle. It's just Dr. Itsugi, who isn't in fact her uncle. The subtitles just referred to, because she's using the fucking, Japanese honorifics and shit. So that's why the subtitles call uncle. I don't think he's actually... Whatever, doesn't matter. Super secret thing happening. I didn't actually get a good chance to read all of it, but Dr. Itsugi gets basically mugged over the phone, and Honey cannot sit idly by at this point. She needs to get out of the bath and...
She also answers the phone by going, "I was taking a bath!" Which is what her voice sounds like this entire movie.
Did that get grating at all, Kristen?
I got used to it.
Okay,
I don't know if that says bad things about me.
So she attempts a Honey flash, which is Honey's signature sort of transformation phrase, but she don't got no energy. Or clothing for some reason.
Yeah, apparently there are none in this place that she might live, maybe.
So she grabs a garbage bag.
She wears a garbage bag over her completely white bra and panties that she has seen in several times in this movie.
Yep.
But a garbage bag dress is the latest style, so it's fine.
Not a ship's captain head, of course.
Oh god, that would have completed this ensemble.
So she grabs a ton of onigiri from the local convenience store. Kristen, there is so much onigiri in this movie. What did you think of that?
Oh, it made me so fucking hungry. I really, really love onigiri, and I am, lucky enough to live in a city where I could just go to Chinatown and get them when I want to, but, not close enough that I do that, and that is very upsetting to me.
And if you are not aware of what onigiri is, it's jelly donuts, according to Brock from Pokemon.
That's a good reference, and the sad thing is, I think a lot of people would get it, actually. It seems like a deep cut, but it's actually a pretty shallow cut.
Damn it, 4 kids.
Rice balls, they good.
So, the garbage bag comes off of her at one point. Does she take it off accidentally? I'm not even certain.
No, she takes it off on purpose.
Okay.
And just starts running down the street in her bra and panties.
And she finally gets that Honey flash off, turning into Motorcycle Woman, and driving away towards the scene of where he has been kidnapped. And she somehow knows.
She has a very good sense of direction.
We see a helicopter. There's a ton of police cars, all cornering... I have in my notes one dude, but we find out it is, in fact, a woman later. Literally, there are billions of police cars. They're all, as many police cars as they can fit on this goddamn bridge. They are everywhere.
The radio chatter that we hear going into this scene sounds like the opening scene from Sonic Adventure 2, when Sonic escapes from the helicopter.
So City Escape is going to start with Aki. Great.
Yep. Perfect.
I have listed, because we don't have Aki's name yet, I have just Chief Lady exits the helicopter when it lands, and she is a no-nonsense cop who is referred to as Chief by her underlings who show up every so often. I don't have their names, though, Kristen. Do they say them more in the dub?
No. I think they say them at the end of the movie, and that's it.
Good. Wonderful. So the Dr. Utsugi, mentioned earlier, has been kidnapped, and that is who they have surrounded here, the kidnapper, and... we have Aki's first character trait where she can handle this herself. With all of these policemen around, she's just like, nah, I got this shit. Don't worry about it.
She is very good at shooting people, so I guess to some degree her confidence isn't unfounded.
No, you're right. But that's her defining it. She's lone wolf cop woman who's super serious and shit. And we see the kidnapper at this point. I have in my notes as very brightly dressed woman with makeup and the like. Very gold, very ornate.
Did Gold Claw have a feminine voice in your version?
Yes, sort of like a angry feminine voice, though. Why? Was Gold Claw... Did Gold Claw have a male voice in the dub?
Very distinctly male in the dub.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we'll have some other things like that when we get to some of the other people later, but yeah, Gold Claw came across to me as just very angry woman, so I don't know.
Yeah, to me it was angry man with really great gold metallic face paint going on and gold nipple boob armor.
I don't know how exactly to describe Gold Claw. I I mean, basically, the Panther Claw, the evil organization in this movie, is a bunch of fucking Kamen Rider villains, essentially, which...
Yeah, they're just weirdos.
They're a bunch...
Weirdo perverts.
They're a bunch of Power Rangers villains, essentially, but that is par for the course, essentially, because this movie is... It tries its best to be like an anime or manga come to life, and these costumes do a very good job of helping with that. Panther Claw is the evil organization of this movie, and Gold Claw says that, you know, hey, fucking try and take me down. And then half the cops behind Gold Claw all turn into the generic sort of members of Panther Claw, all with their ski masks and, like, hats and golden lugers and shit.
Look pretty sharp. Pretty silly, but sharp.
They're good for generic tokusatsu bad guys.
Yeah, very understated compared to their boss.
All of a sudden, the chief finds herself surrounded. She approaches Goldclaw, actually, and, you know, tries to negotiate at first. But, yeah, she gets surrounded almost immediately by all these men. And they all open fire, like, this takes a good 15, 20 seconds of just shots of, like, Goldclaw smiling and all of the fucking Panther Claw toadies just all shooting their guns. And as it turns out, they all end up shooting each other, Kristen.
Yeah, that's why you don't stand in a circle and then shoot inward at your friends.
The chief actually ends up getting rescued from the circle at some point, I guess before the bullets started going, by Honey, who is in disguise as a policewoman at this point.
And she gets yelled at, and Honey apologizes, which happens a lot, so get used to it.
It does, yes. And just as Aki is just like, all right, let's do this, and Honey has suddenly disappeared, the professor ends up escaping because Honey has now disguised herself as a generic Panther Claw member. And I believe at this point we see that without the hat on, like the ski masks that the Panther Claw mooks have like little cat ears on them.
Adorable.
The men all go after her as Honey escapes with the professor, and they manage to capture the professor again, but oh fuck! Honey in a disguise again. Not even a very good disguise. No.
I'm not sure what's wrong with the eyeballs of everyone, really. She wore a lab coat. Great disguise.
Yeah, so Goldclaw's like, aha, we have the professor, and then she notices the professor is down with the police chief, and here is where Honey reveals herself again, and she has her transformation sequence, and there's a song in the background that is persistent throughout the movie, kind of like, Kristen, speaking of Sonic Adventure 2, reminds me of Amy's theme a bit, except it sounds like they're saying papaya a lot.
I knew it reminded me of something, too.
Essentially, yes. Here at this point, Goldclaw, of course, has, you know, who the hell are you sort of moment with Honey, and Honey does her... Now, this is, I believe, in the normal sort of anime series, this is a once-an-episode kind of thing where Honey says that sometimes she's a bike racer, other times a female police officer, a fake member of Panther Claw, even a stand-in for the professor, but her true identity is Warrior of Love, Cutie, Honey!
Title sequence.
And yeah, here we get the theme song at this point with some anime going on. And like I said, I think this was actually used for an anime, this opening title sequence, because I've seen it before.
And there's some boobs and some butts.
Well, I mean, they're all censored, but you know.
Well, there's focus given to boobs and butts.
Yes, indeed, yes there is.
But I like the animation style.
I do too. My kind of problem with it is it showcases the style of that anime where Honey in her not Cutie Honey form has long blonde hair, and the Cutie Honey form has like short, kind of purpley, pinkish...
Kimber-colored hair.
Yeah, Kimber-colored hair, essentially, yes. And it doesn't really work her normal hair in this movie is like a kind of like auburny orangish, and when she's in Honey form, it's like bright-ass pink.
Yeah, there's definitely not a one-to-one from the animation that we were being shown to what she actually looks like.
And I mean, hey, that's fine, but just, again, little nitpicks. I don't know how I feel about that.
Tiny things, little jarring.
It's very stylish. There's a lot of checkerboard patterns everywhere. Honey then, when it cuts back to like the normal live action of the movie, live action, Honey then jumps down to the ground in what I can only describe as anime sort of styling. Kristen, how would you describe what happens at this moment here?
Green screen motion sickness.
Green screen motion sickness. It looks really weird. This movie is trying to be an anime, and I mean, I'll give it an A for effort, but woo!
It was definitely storyboarded exactly like an anime, and you can tell it's from 2003.
The goons start to fire on Honey. She blocks every bullet and then, kicks all their asses. She, slices them all in half with her sword. She got a sword.
She punches them and they go flying.
Yeah, they all start, again, true anime fashion. Sends them flying with punches and kicks and all things like that. She's making very short work of them. Again, classic tokusatsu mook fashion. She is just fucking ripping them apart. They are completely ineffective.
And continue to be, so we don't really get a Crazy 88 sequence again.
Would you call this a Crazy 88 sequence, Kristen? It's so very... I mean, at least the bride was challenged by a few of the guys in the Crazy 88, right?
I just mean a lot of mooks coming at you at once, and,
I guess. Okay.
They're not the end goal.
Fair enough. Goldclaw steps in at this point and has her gold attack where we see what was more, likely camera mounted onto, looking at Goldclaw running towards Honey. Again, looks very kind of awkward and anime-y, I guess. The gold attack is just basically running. I don't know if... Does it get blocked, I think?
I think they just kind of clash. I'm starting to think now, maybe in the dub that I watched, they gave Goldclaw a male voice so that the boobs wouldn't be lady boobs.
I don't know.
And then therefore would be okay to show. Censorship.
So yeah, they fight a bit. Goldclaw gets her ponytail around Honey's ankle and then starts swinging her all over. And in the process, cuts off the claws on her claw hand.
It's an anime fight!
Because, then Goldclaw decides to start shooting missiles everywhere. Honey gets a face full of missiles for her trouble. Cars are being blown up. And I don't know where Goldclaw gets all these missiles.
Magic!
The thing that they say about Panther Claw earlier is that they've all got, a weapon and, a gun weapon, right? Like a swordy weapon and a gun weapon or something, right? They got weapons infused into them.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, well, maybe I was looking at it wrong, or maybe they just didn't mention it in the dub. But yeah, Goldclaw has, a missile rack around her one wrist, which manages to fucking blow up literally everything. And, Goldclaw's laughing in an inferno of fire. The entire goddamn bridge that they're on. Did they say, I forget, they specifically named where they were. I didn't necessarily pay attention to it.
I don't remember.
Tokyo something or other. Doesn't matter, I guess.
F-City F Prefecture.
Honey survives, of course. Basically everyone survives, even with the missiles blowing up literally everything.
But the fight's over.
So, yeah, Goldclaw basically uses this distraction to grab the professor and, use her ponytail as a helicopter and try to leave.
Yeah. Later, bye. I'm glad that, Honey does in fact use a boomerang attack to get them back, because I was like, they're really not just gonna let her float away, right? It's going so slow. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where Goldclaw is taking her time, just aha, I'm getting away, ha 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 ha, and, floating away very slowly. And still going!
And then, yes, Honey uses her Honey Boomerang, which is attached to her, armlet? Is that what that's called?
Cuff?
The cuff of her thing? I don't know. It shoots off and cuts off the ponytail of Goldclaw, who falls into the ocean, and somehow the trajectory of the professor makes him end up back with Honey and Aki right over there. And
floats harmlessly to the ground as if he were made of paper, which would also explain why he doesn't say anything or make any expressions with his face this whole movie.
Yeah, Professor Itsugi doesn't really do much in this movie, and I don't know if that's for the better or not, but whatever. This kind of reminds me, Kristen, there is an episode of one Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger where the bad guy gets away in a hot air balloon, and the Kaku Rangers just kind of stare at him like, damn, he's getting away! And he's in a fucking hot air balloon. It's
So not very quickly.
I mean, it almost never worked for Team Rocket. Why would it work for this guy?
I know, right? Come on, do your research.
So the professor's fine. Yay! And then Aki decides to arrest Honey for... Does she give a reason? I don't remember. Just for...
Stop cosplaying in the business district.
Here's where we get... I don't remember Seiji's full name. I have it written down somewhere. But Seiji, newspaper reporter, appears and basically attempts to stop Aki from arresting Honey by standing very close to her.
I wonder at parts through this movie whether or not he should have actually been there at all. He's like Luca from Bayonetta.
Kinda. By the end of his arc, not much changes, really, so...
And I guess, to be fair, it's more like Luca is like him.
True, because, right, again, predating and things, but Seiji is very suspicious as well. Aki's just like, nope, you should be arrested too. Please get handcuffs on this man.
And they, one of her assistants puts one of his arms into a handcuff, and then as she is standing there, Honey just kind of, breaks her handcuffs,
gets a gun in her face.
That doesn't go over great, yeah.
Yeah, she gets a gun pointed right at her face. Then Honey just kind of honey flashes the fuck out of there. Just like, see ya. Honey flash, goodbye.
Yeah, she says goodbye the same exact way pretty much every single time she says it this whole movie. What was that for you?
I didn't point it out. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention. Maybe, I don't know if I'm not good on picking up verbal quirks in Japanese. I'm not certain. Maybe it was the same.
In the dub, she repeatedly goes, ciao!
Nope, she doesn't do that for me at least, so.
I didn't think so. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog. Translated from Adios, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Forgot about that shit.
That's one of my Snapple Cat pieces of knowledge, and I'm not sure why it's still in my head, and I wish it would go away so I could replace it with something more important.
Sonic Adventure 2, everybody. This is quickly turning into the Cutie, Honey, and Sonic Adventure 2 podcast.
Awesome.
Honey arrives at her job, cheerful as ever, but everyone seems very busy. I don't know if they said in the movie what exactly Honey does or where she's
an OL.
She's an OL?
Do you know what that means?
Office lady.
Uh-huh.
She gets the T.
Yup, she's according to the dub, she's a temp.
Well, that makes sense, I guess. She doesn't seem terribly respected where she is, but I mean, I don't know. I thought this was the newspaper at first, but it is not. I don't know what it is.
Some data entry bullshit, probably.
Probably, but this movie makes me want onigiri, Kristen, because here's Honey eating we get a sequence of Honey eating about, 30 packets of onigiri, packaged onigiri.
Joe, remind me, have you ever actually had, packaged onigiri?
Nope. I'd like to.
I'm so sad for you. Come visit me in Philly. We'll go get some in Chinatown.
That'd be very good, actually. I want some. Damn.
Yeah. Motivation.
So, Honey passes out the tea for everyone at this point, and apparently she gets it all wrong. She has to put it out in a certain order. It goes the boss and his assistant, then that guy and the other guy, and it's not really relevant to what's happening in the movie. Maybe just to establish that Honey is an outsider at her job. Maybe. I don't know.
They need to hit home several times in this office setting that Honey got no friends at all.
Honey don't got no friends, because she's passing out the tea all wrong. God damn it.
Learn office etiquette.
We cut at this point to the police who are in a room with Aki. They don't seem to believe her story. All they say is basically hey, the entire fucking bridge got blown up and it's your fault, Missy.
I have a very good localized line at this part.
Oh, please.
The media's gonna have a field day with this.
Ooh, yeah, that's definitely a westernism.
Yep, definitely.
Apparently there has been a glut of beautiful ladies being stolen. The police have basically no leads about this, and...
Maybe the police are bad. Maybe it's not her fault.
Because, we see directly afterwards, she is a very good shot. She gets, every fucking bullet in the clip directly in the middle. She is, again...
She does the shooting practice version of the arrow splitting the arrow.
All in the middle of the target.
I like scenes of anything where somebody gets really angry and just needs to start shooting a gun.
Good thing she works in a police precinct.
Yep.
We cut back to Honey. Apparently where she works, she gets paid in onigiri. That was a line in this. Was that a line in your version, Kristen? I don't know.
In my version, she said that she's not sure how everyone found out that if they give her onigiri, she will do all of their leftover work, but she's hungry, so she does not mind.
Oh, maybe that's what that meant. Okay, yeah, it says at least she likes it. Because that's the other thing. I was uncertain why Honey ended up staying after everybody else. Because everybody just leaves, and then the lights turn off, and Honey is the only one still in the office.
Yeah, she has all of their work to finish up.
Well, alright. And then the janitor comes in. Lady janitor.
Nice lady. And she gives Honey a bento that has another onigiri in it. So, booyah. This girl is living my dream life.
Because, hey, even next day here, we see Honey greets the cat. Because, hey, good for you, cat, you're a cat. And Honey's also in her underwear in this entire scene.
Yep, great.
She decides to give the professor a call, but the message on his phone is from Panther Claw saying that he is currently in their possession, and if you have any business with the professor, fucking get out of there, because he's under Panther Claw jurisdiction now! The voice on the phone, was it the butler? Because I wasn't really paying attention.
Oh, you know what? I wouldn't have known at this point in the movie.
Right, yeah, because the butler comes in later. Oh, well, alright. So, the chief gets the call as well, basically, that the professor has been stolen, taken right out from under their noses.
I guess you don't watch someone who was a victim of an attempted recent kidnapping, but that guy was a cardboard cutout with mobility, so I guess he probably just walked back into getting kidnapped.
Kristen, what is the male version of a damsel in distress?
A manzel in distress?
Professor Itsugi is a manzel in distress, Kristen, in this movie.
Absolutely. He's the MacGuffin.
Essentially, yeah, a living MacGuffin. Honey decides that she needs some more info in order to find the professor, so she has... does she have a picture of Aki on her phone, is it, or something like that? I don't quite remember. She just figures out
It's hard to tell because they're using flip phones in this movie, so I don't know if this is correct, but my interpretation was that she used the internet on her flip phone, which is a thing that they can do, even though it is very expensive per minute, to kind of figure out who the person she met was, and then found the picture of her.
Okay, fair enough, but yeah, she realized... I thought she was gonna go just talk to her, but no, she's gonna disguise herself as Aki.
I'm really into all of the weird outfits that she gets to wear in this movie, because some of them are only worn for seconds at a time as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's because, again, yeah, I don't even think she does a terribly good job of masquerading as Aki, considering she doesn't change her hair color or anything, and she still has, like, the pink headband thing, whatever that is. I
feel like this is one of those things where we have to believe the disguise is better than it actually is in order for the logic to work.
I mean, more than likely. I mean, it is a movie. I understand. This is a fucking... But, yeah, I just wanted to, It fooled me for a second, and I was like, wait a minute, isn't her hair darker? Why is she wearing that pink thing? Oh, okay. Honey is basically just at the police precinct trying to get information from people, and one of the underling guys for Aki tries to get her to sign off on something, but she just kind of walks away, and then the real Aki shows up, and we get, one of those, like, but I just... And then it cuts.
Miss Gabor! But yeah, one of the main things about Honey attempting to get any information is that literally everyone she talks to basically looks at her and goes, you are already in trouble with the higher-ups, I don't want to talk to you.
Hey, police, it's a fucking dog-eat-dog world. I don't know.
Power dynamic.
Yeah. You don't want to get dragged down there.
Hierarchy and whatnot.
There we go. Perfect. Okay, so Honey runs into Hayami Seiji is his name, a news journalist, the guy from before. He has quite a tendency to show up in places like this, just sort of out of the blue, and he knows that Honey happens to be Cutie Honey, a name that is quite fitting of her, as he says.
Joe, I gotta tell you something.
Sure.
I don't know if my ears are broken, or if the voice acting in the dub was just a little bit garbled. Because I didn't have the benefit of subtitles, I could have sworn that they were calling Seiji Sergei for most of the movie.
I mean, that sounds kind of par for the course for some dubs, so I don't know.
It wasn't great. But yeah, he walks in looking very anime. They have some very deliberate shots of him several times in the movie with his head tilted down just enough that the brim of his hat covers his eyes. It's some bullshit.
He knows quite a bit more than one should know, it seems, and Honey's just like, how do you know that?
I'm a journalist.
Hey, the truth is his job. I've covered wars,
All he says in the dub version is, I'm a journalist. And my response to that is, that's not an answer.
He promises that he can give Honey some leads in this case as well, and all of a sudden, Kristen, they are underground riding on segways.
Yeah, there's some Segway exposition, some Segwisposition.
10 out of 10. Great. Wonderful.
Nailed it!
Yeah, Seiji plays Exposition Man at this point, talking about nanomachines, and the soldiers that she fought from yesterday, and how Panther Claw is all nano-machined out, I guess.
And Emmett Benton.
How, yeah, her dead father left her some earrings that could turn her into Cutie Honey.
But only her and not her sister.
I'm sure we could talk about that at this point, Kristen. There are a fair few, like one of the things that was pointed out to us in that email from E, is that there are some similarities between Gem and Cutie Honey, namely the sort of masquerading going around, and at least people know that Honey Kisaragi is in fact Cutie Honey, and...
Are you saying that this series that predates Gem by at least 10 years did it a little bit more elegantly?
A little bit more. I mean...
So Gem has no excuse, and looking at you, Christy Marks!
They're also not a band. No band stuff going on, so hey, at least Gem had that original idea.
Yes, very original. Josie and the Pussycats.
Seiji is also a bit better than Rio. Not too much, but he's better.
Yeah, I mean, he's no Luca.
And Honey is certainly no Bayonetta.
Oh god, no. Well, is anyone really Bayonetta?
Bayonetta's Bayonetta, Kristen.
Exactly.
So, I mean, nanomachines, I kind of, like, checked out at this part where they're talking about nanomachines, because honestly,
Yeah, explain the science of this bullshit to me. Tell me more about the gold person.
All that's really...
And people in the kitty cat hoods.
All that really matters is that Panther Claw is after research started by Honey's dead father, that Professor Utsugi seems to have, like, taken up the helm on, I guess.
They're after the Gemstar earrings. They want synergy.
Oh my god. And Honey wants to know more about this, but this is a business deal at this point. Seiji wants an interview. And Aki arrives on a bike at this point, so I don't know where they are. They look like they're underground in like a subway tunnel, but I don't know where they are.
They look kind of like a parking garage to me.
I don't know. Aki has a bike, doesn't matter. Seiji starts to expound more about Panther Claw. I mean, Aki has some questions, but we gotta learn about the villain group here. They are generic tokusatsu villain group. They are Shocker, they are fucking all the, Black Cross Army, all that shit from Sentai and Kamen Rider that I know and love. Generally, they want to take over the world. Their leader is Sister Jill.
Which is a bad name for a leader.
Kristen, can we talk about Sister Jill for a second?
What is there to say, really?
What was Sister Jill's voice like in the dub?
Just kind of sounding like a fairly apathetic, monotone older woman.
Because maybe it's just me. Sister Jill sounded kind of dudeish to me in the normal Japanese.
Well, as we know, sadly, in especially older series, they tend to make evil people androgynous.
True.
Which is not a great look these days.
I mean, Sister Jill's a fucking plant monster, as we'll find out, so maybe it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, with some bad latex makeup going on the face.
At this point, Kristen, we cut to someone singing a song in English about Sister Jill.
Yeah, they kept that in the dub.
And this lady goes away. She's not really a member of Panther Claw. She just she sings a song about Sister Jill in English, about how Sister Jill's like the Queen of Destruction and shit like that. And that's it?
Yeah, she and her white feather collar just kind of fuck off for the rest of the movie.
I mean, I don't hate it, but like, what? Like, what?
I don't... There are 2 actual songs in this movie, and this is the first one. Like, songs performed by the actors in character.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, this lady goes away, so I don't know whom she is, but she leaves, and
But thanks for the info.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Sister Jill, Queen of Destruction. Got it. All we needed to know. Exposition song, essentially.
Great.
Sister Jill arises in the middle of a thing, like a
dais?
A dais? I don't even know what the fuck to call it.
If you want to call it like a throne room or something, there's fucking water everywhere and like 2 platforms suitable for standing on, and then platforms for the rest of the claw people that we see later.
Whatever, plant monster. Fuck it, doesn't matter. We also got a butler there who is there to greet her, who has a wonderful Salvador Dali mustache.
I was having a really difficult time at this movie coming to grips with the fact that there are now a total of 6 bad guys that we need to get rid of by the time the movie is over, because I also had thought at first that perhaps Gold Claw was dead after falling into the ocean, but nope, not exactly. But yeah, I mean, I thought about that too. I was like, are they really going to get rid of 4 of these guys in the 1 hour and 30-minute runtime as well as the big bad guy? But they do, so yep, it happens.
Aki wants Honey and Seiji to stay out of police business while they're underground too. Seiji shows off that he has a cool car. He just has it, like, stashed down there.
Yeah, because journalists have such nice cars.
And he's, like, driving alongside Honey and Aki as they are talking. And then Seiji just kind of grabs Honey and pulls her into the car, and they drive off because they're like, nope, we won't butt into your business. Goodbye. Even though they're clearly going to. So
Aki makes a phone call, and a black car that is not inconspicuous at all, it is conspicuous, in fact, starts to tail them poorly.
Very poorly, as we'll find out.
Unfortunately, there are 2 Adachis behind the wheel.
We cut back to Sister Jill at this point, and the butler guy introduces the 4 big soldiers of Panther Claw. They are there to greet her. It is, first, Black Claw, dude with half black, half white painted face, and then opposite painted hair, or colored hair.
Dyed hair.
And colored lips. He looks like a Dracula man.
A little bit.
And he's Dan Green.
Indeed he is.
One of the only things I knew Dan Green. I looked in the comments for, spoiler alert, the English dub of this is on YouTube, and that is where Kristen watched it. I had seen that Dan Green sings at some point in this movie, according to the comments, and I was like, oh, that's why Kristen needs to watch this.
Mm-hmm. And I still can't decide if I regret it or not.
Next is Cobalt Claw, who looks like a bug woman. I don't know what she is, but she's got her face bedazzled too, as we'll see later.
Yeah, she's just kind of a pervert.
Yeah, I think that's probably a succinct way to put it. So we've got Dan Green, a pervert. We've got Gold Claw, who we know already, who is
helicopter.
Mad helicopter, yeah.
Mad helicopter with boobs.
And Scarlet Claw, who's got a lot of shit going on, who's looking really sort of... she's got some kabuki mannerisms later, sort of. I don't even know if that's the correct terminology for it, but Kristen, I'm gonna be honest, there were so many things where I was like, she looks like, but I can't put my exact finger on it.
Me too. Her English voice also really reminds me of something, but I can't fucking figure out what it is. It helped a little bit later when she does the laugh.
Yeah, the haughty Ojo-sama laugh.
Uh-huh. That exists in basically every anime.
We find out that all of the missing ladies were stolen by, I believe it's Cobalt Claw who says this. You know, they all present Sister Jill with gifts at this point. You know, Black Claw shows off that, hey, we got an army for you. Army of dudes in little cat ear ski masks. And Cobalt Claw's like, we got all these ladies to feed your power. And, alright, okay.
Gold Claw's like, you got weapons made of gold.
Do they ever use those gold weapons?
I don't think so.
All the other things come into play, but the gold weapons, I guess, don't.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Gold Claw doesn't really get the chance to use them.
And the biggest present of all from Scarlet Claw, the Jill Tower, which I wrote in all caps.
Jill Tower!
Every time it shows up in this movie, I wrote Jill Tower and all.
Stupid name. Jill is a bad name.
They say, hey, you know, if you want anything else, Sister Jill, we got you. We're good. And Sister Jill's just like, fuck.
Sister Jill sounds like a character that was in The Crucible or something.
Right there with fucking, oh god, I play Town of Salem so much I should know. Right there with Giles Corey.
Yeah, our favorite character.
Is he the one who was just like, put more weight on my chest so I could get fucking crushed by stone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Execute me so my family gets a severance package.
Yeah. Giles Corey, you badass.
Yeah.
Taking a direction I didn't quite expect on the podcast today. Talking about the Crucible.
We've been so good about that these last 2 episodes, just going off into space somehow.
Sister Jill's basically bored with, like, everything. And just like, fuck, humanity hasn't changed at all in these last 10 million billion years or whatever.
Ugh, so materialistic.
Apparently, like, the Panther Claw soldiers, one of them, I think Scarlet Claw might have said, like, you know, hey, we're here, it's great to see your 2,222nd resurrection, or something like that. So I don't know what's going on with Sister Jill. I don't know if she's, like, a big force of nature or something. I mean, she's a tree monster. She can live forever. They don't really say much about Sister Jill, Kristen. They don't explain much about her.
Nah, if she's been resurrected like 2,000 times, for all we know, she could just pop up every other day or two.
Why would she be that much of a threat if, yeah, I mean, Earth's been around for a while, but unless we get some kind of exposition where it's just like, oh shit, Panther Claw killed the dinosaurs, then I'd be like, okay, cool, that's all I need, thanks.
No joke, Chaos killed the dinosaurs.
Whoa, nice. Seiji and Honey are driving in the car at this point, discussing basically what's going on with Panther Claw. Seiji's, you know, he's pretty much just like, hey, Honey, you shouldn't kill for vengeance. It doesn't suit you. I know you want to avenge your father, but, you know, keep it low, you know, because I believe he notices her, like, boiling some coffee in her hand or something.
Yeah, she mad, so she gets hot. Did we mention before that part, the thing that they talk about is that Panther Claw are the people who killed her father? I think we missed that part.
Yeah, they must. I mean, I guess that's the reason that she wants to get back at them. I forgot about that entirely. I didn't write a note about it, but yeah, that does make more sense.
Yeah, they do outright state that. I just, we forgot to mention it.
So yes, Professor Kisaragi killed by Panther Claw. Honey want revenge. Understandable. I get it. You know, don't underestimate Panther Claw, though. Especially now that you're their target.
And Honey is like, yo, did you notice those basic bitches following us?
Speaking of getting targeted, doing good detective work here, kind of following them, and the one is talking to Aki on the phone as they are following, and he's even just like, no, they have no idea that we're following them. We got this. Don't worry about it.
I forgot to mention in the last scene that Cobalt Claw has a French accent.
Oh, does she?
That's really important, so I had to mention it.
That kind of makes sense given the way that her voice came across in Japanese. So, alright, I'll accept that.
Okay, yeah, so that's an important thing. S&M, French pervert.
Honey gets out of the car at this point, and the cops are given orders.
He goes, ciao!
Cops are given orders to follow her. Yes, she does her kind of lean forward, arm high in the air, goodbye. She runs into an underpass while the police are following, and as they get to the underpass, they find a woman who was panhandling, just going, like, as she's playing guitar, and this is very clearly Honey, like, 100% Honey, and the cop is just like, but where'd she go?
They're using pizzazz logic that she couldn't have possibly changed her clothes that quickly.
Man, if only there were an evil Honey, or like an evil girl rock group led by a woman named Pizzazz.
Right? I just want Cutie Honey, except the Misfits are there.
That's
unchanged.
That's the best incarnation of Gem and the Holograms.
Yes, absolutely. Just get rid of the Gem part.
Honey heads off at this point, and when we cut, we see that Aki is now following her, so I guess she didn't do as good a job as she thought trying to lose the tail.
And Aki knows it's her.
She heads off into an alley as well, where Honey flashes into her work uniform, and Aki is even just like, wait a minute, that woman can't possibly be... But yeah, kinda, yeah.
She sees light and she gets confused, so she keeps following her.
We go back to Sister Jill, already in progress. The butler informs her of Honey, and Sister Jill's like, well, shit! Gotta find her!
Go get her!
Gotta get those nanomachines.
Gotta build my father's army. Brother.
Seiji is on the phone. I don't know.
Sergei's on it!
Sergei's on it. I don't know whom he's talking to, Kristen. I don't know if this character is named. It is some dude behind a desk in what looks like a fucking dungeon.
In some kind of Dracula mansion.
Some kind of Dracula mansion. It is here that we are told that Professor Kisaragi's daughter died in an accident nearly a year ago. And, Honey's dad, of course.
That's impossible!
But yeah, so Honey got her body all rebuilt after fucking exploding in a car crash or something. And, I don't know if we learned that yet necessarily, but it's just that, daughter died a year ago. Cool, whatever.
We go into more detail later.
Seiji also takes out a mysterious vial that I wish did more than what it actually does.
Right? I thought there was, liquid in there or something.
I forgot about it until it was used.
Me too.
Honey arrives at work. It is very late in the day at this point, and she is even just like, hey, good morning. And the guy with the newspaper is just like, it is nowhere close to morning. Please give me the tea.
It's not even afternoon now. You fucked up so colossally.
Yeah, and I believe the line in the subs was, it's not good morning. It's not even good afternoon. Cobalt Claw seems to be following Aki as well to try and get a lead on Honey, and she's doing a much better job of tailing than Aki's cop friends.
And she's even in a limo or something.
Yeah, she's there's a very... I remember the shot distinctly of it's at from the perspective of the driver's seat of the limo, and Cobalt Claw is sitting in the very back, and there's nobody else in the limo, so...
Lots of room to stretch her very, very stretchy legs.
Maybe that's why she needs the...
Put both feet up on the partition.
Honey is at work. She's working. Two girls are talking. Literally two girls are talking, and Honey's just kind of staring at them like, why can't I talk to people like that?
Why am I so weird?
And yeah, she longs for friends. All she needs is friends. And... the janitor at this point comes over and is like, hey, somebody's here to see you. This is the first time, isn't it? And Honey's just like, holy shit, I have a friend now.
She has no clue who it could have been, but she's very excited. My mystery friend.
And as soon as she opens the door and sees Aki, who flashes her badge, she's just like, hi, bye.
Yep, turns around, tries to leave, and Aki's like,
They need to go somewhere more private to ask some questions, so they head out into the hallway. And Kristen, I'm not exactly certain what's going on in this sequence at this point, because there is a woman that cries out after her boyfriend supposedly broke up with her, I believe.
It's the lady that's mean to Honey.
Right, yeah, earlier who was being mean to her, and Aki is just like, I hate that, I hate women who cry, you gotta be strong.
That's ice cold.
And this really, the woman who's crying immediately turns back to just like, well fine, whatever. So I think she only started crying at that point just to sort of showcase that Aki hates women who cry, I guess.
Yeah, so that can come up a couple of times, and be the climax of their friendship.
Yeah. So the woman who just got broken up with the mean lady walks away kind of muttering under her breath, like, this is bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
I need to get a new boyfriend. Lisa, you tear me apart.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. So how's your sex life?
And then she gets stolen away by somebody from Panther Claw.
How is it that I had the one that was in English, yet you somehow were like, I'll turn this into a reference to The Room?
I don't know, because I couldn't remember what she was saying, and I thought my voice was going somewhere towards Tommy Wiseau, so that's what I went for.
That's the first thing that comes to your head when you think of conflict in a relationship. That's unhealthy, Joe.
Don't worry about it. So yeah, Aki decides at this point that the only place that they can talk to each other in private is in a bathroom stall. So that is exactly where they go.
She corners Honey very uncomfortably in the bathroom stall.
Yes, and starts asking her all sorts of questions, all information on Honey, because the public records have nothing on her. She even gets a gun in her face again.
Honey tries to kind of slide down the wall into like a crouch to go through Aki's arms, but she does not let her.
And at this point, we see something like crawl across on the ceiling. And Seiji gives Aki a call right before, she's gonna arrest her again or fucking shoot her in the face or something. The enemy's already watching, and as it turns out, it's a terrible Spider-Woman walking on the ceiling.
Oops, it's the Grudge.
Oops, it's the Grudge. Kristen, I don't know why this happens. Maybe it's explained in the series that this is what Cobalt Claw can do. Turn ladies into terrible spider monsters. I'm not sure.
I wonder if the mean lady was dead.
We don't see her after this, so she could still be a terrible Spider-Woman.
I hope she's not dead.
They get into an elevator to escape at this point, and guess who else is in the elevator, Kristen?
Spider Monster!
It's the Countess Duvoussan herself, Cobalt Claw.
Oh, good. Yes, I forgot. The affectation of their speech is so different that I did not even make any connection to Cobalt's French accent and the Countess, which is very sad. Also, I was looking at my notes here, and as the ceiling climbing started and the chasing started, I wrote down, I want to die.
Wow. So, is that it for dub reasons, or is that just...
Visuals.
Visuals aren't great, to be fair.
Ooh, I don't remember when it actually happens. I think it's when she's in the limo, but Cobalt does talk about going to attacking and goes, dun, toi.
I'm feeling like something like that happened, but not, I can't remember. Something like that happens in Japanese too. Not exactly un, deux, trois, but maybe she does.
Sept, huit, neuf.
Please, Kristen.
It's a Hamilton joke!
Not a dead child, please.
It's a very long elevator ride.
This is a very long elevator ride, Kristen, because, yes, Cobalt Claw is in the elevator here, and her hair things, start choking Aki to try and get information about Cutie Honey, and Honey struggles as well, but she does manage to transform.
Her hair also grabs Aki's arm, so the gun is up against Honey's head again.
Right, yes. So, Honey getting guns in this movie, getting really gunned in her face.
Yeah, so it takes a little bit of Aki choking before Honey can transform, finally.
Right. And they fight in an elevator, which, kind of awkward. I mean, it is an elevator.
Not super exciting.
Cobalt Claw at one point unzips some zippers and reveals, 4 more arms that she has that don't get used again, even though they might be useful after a certain point.
Ugh, pervert.
She also bites Honey's neck. Honey, I guess, gets angry by this and just starts bear hugging Cobalt Claw to death.
Her little heart shape on her necklace opens up to show energy, I guess.
Like a power meter or something, yeah.
Yeah, and she gets very hot, and Cobalt's having a bad time. And at this point, Sergey, my friend and yours, calls Aki again.
Yeah, and is just like, so hey, how's it going in the elevator there? Yeah, Honey's burning a bug woman to death by, hugging her. And he's like, oh, that's not good. You gotta turn it off.
And then they start to have, Aki, who does not know Honey very well at this point, attempt to communicate that she should probably stop and that she says that Cobalt needs to have a trial, which is bullshit. But, all of a sudden, we're barely a half hour into this movie and we're having these heavy judge, jury, and executioner conversations that I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, I mean, this is an extended sequence of Cobalt Claw screaming and Honey basically angry screaming as well. Cobalt Claw dies, pretty much, just a bear hug to death.
And Honey survives, so it all goes okay, actually.
And Honey screams out, clearly more than a little sad about her father's death. But, hey, she got one of them, I guess, and now the elevator's all steamy and shit, too.
Yeah, and before we get off this topic, I did write down, I want to see Jem kill Rio that way.
For some reason, I'm reminded of Pizzazz's elbow spikes that we have given her, so...
Yeah!
Yeah, kill him with the elbow spikes.
Perfect.
We join Sister Jill in what I assume is Jill Tower. They are in Jill Tower, yes, so...
Just underground.
Yeah, I don't know why I put that in my notes. I don't know why I read my notes straight there, even though we know this is Jill Tower at this point. But the flower representing Cobalt Claw loses its head, and we don't really go back to the flowers, do we, Kristen?
No, I don't remember that at all.
So, there we go. Sister Jill, quite interested in Honey's prowess, as well as the ability that she has that could grant her eternal life, her eye system, which is, it's nanomachine, son.
It's technology masquerading as magic, masquerading as technology.
Yep. So, Honey passes out when the elevator door opens. Sergei is there to disengage her transformation, and he takes a picture of her in her bra panties for some reason.
Yeah, pervert.
And then he takes a picture of, is it Cobalt Claw's dead body, I believe?
Yup.
And he says that this must be Honey's weakness, the overheating thing, which, I guess, seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, things didn't go great. Aki does wake up after Sergei leaves. And she takes out her handcuffs, but kind of looks at Honey for a second and goes...
She makes a gross noise with her throat, and then Honey wakes up with an ice pack on her head in Aki's apartment. Aki's apartment is kind of grim. There's it's just a lot of, like, black t-shirts and dead flowers and, like, bottles of sake.
Yeah. Do you remember what Honey says when she wakes up?
Nope.
Because in the dub, Honey goes, cool.
Oh. Well,
or, sorry, it's more like, cool.
Well, I mean, she does have an ice pack on her head.
No, she is definitely referring to the room and not the ice pack.
I believe she does comment that, yeah, she looks around the room and is just like, oh, look at this place. Aki asks about Honey's necklace at this point, or choker, I believe she refers to it, but, for some reason, Honey's just like, I'd rather not talk about it, but... And then she expounds.
I mean, since you asked.
Her body was destroyed a year ago in an accident, and the choker is a gift from her father after being rebuilt. It is the eye system, the imaginary induction system. Kristen, Honey is a robot, a bobot. She is an android. Not as good as Android 18, but she is an android.
I mean, how do you get better than Android 18?
Very true. Goddamn, Krillin, you lucky bastard.
Lucky.
She doesn't have any memories of her past life, however, just of her holding
Nice job, Dad!
Just of her holding hands with her father. And Honey says that hatred is a scary thing.
And Aki says that love is just as scary, and then all of a sudden we got some lesbian subtext going on. That carries through to the end of the movie.
Quite apparent in the manga as well, so they're carrying that over, so alright. Honey is told to go to sleep. She puts the ice pack on her forehead down over her eyes, which, Kristen, have you ever had an ice pack on your eyes? That is not comfortable.
No, because I don't want my eyeballs to freeze in my head.
Exactly, yeah. So, there we go.
Yeah, so I guess she is robo-eyes, so she's good.
Sister Jill has a tree hand. She is looking at a tree hand at this point. We see her consume some of the women's sacrifices and turn it back to normal. I don't know if it's necessarily explained how Sister Jill takes these women. It happens, whatever. But time is running out. Sister Jill need the eye system. She need to get that eye system.
Yeah, she's saying that her body is basically going bad a lot faster than it usually does. So no matter how many ladies they got, and damn, they got a lot of ladies, it's not going to be enough.
So the next morning, Aki's flowers have all bloomed since last night, as they were in pretty dire straits before. It's, pretty much clear. Honey used the power of the eye system to make them grow. Honey at this point says that it can bring back life, but not create new life, which, does that make sense?
We're going to talk about it later, so let's make note of that and move on.
So yeah, I guess we'll talk about that later here, but Honey leaves, and we get a song at this point. I guess it's the second of 3 songs in this movie. Is she like, is Aki just like, get out of here, just get out! Get out! Get out! Is that what happens? Because during this, like, montage sequence here, Honey is looking all dejected and shit.
Yeah, she's suddenly homeless, I guess, because she never goes back to that place she was taking a bubble bath at the beginning of the movie.
Maybe she lost the key, who knows?
Yeah, it's been a weird 2 days or so, to be sure. But yeah, Aki is just kind of like, well, you're good now, so please leave, because I'm uncomfortable talking to you still. And I guess Honey just kind of bums around town in different outfits because she, as we see at the end of this segment, is facing up to the fact that no one she is around will be safe until things are taken care of, and she doesn't want any more casualties, basically.
Yeah, and hey, fair enough. She also disguises herself as a businessman with the mustache, and for some reason she goes to her workplace, and the janitor is like, excuse me, do I know you?
And she nearly starts to cry and runs away.
So yeah, we cut back to Seiji. Everything is going fucking Kekakudori. It's just all according to plan, according to mysterious dude in the Dracula dungeon, whom, again, I don't know who this man is.
Did you really think I would not say anything after you said Kekakudori?
Fucking just as planned, Kristen.
I know, I just wanted to let you know that I heard you, and I understood you, and I'm judging you.
Hey, I understand. I get it. He echoes something that Aki said earlier, Sergei does, talking about not trusting the system. How, when it comes down to it, you can't trust the system. When, of course, when Aki said it before, it was, when it comes down to it, you can only trust the system.
So, we have some themes here.
Apparently the American government is going to be taking the lead in this missing girls case, because Aki is before the police tribunal again, and her punishment is being assigned to a different case now.
This is not what they said in the dub.
Oh, what was it?
They just kind of said, oh yeah, different department's going to do it. You're off the case. We should have known better than to let a rookie do it. And she's a chief of some kind, so A, that's stupid. And B, they left out the mention of the American government?
That's what it says here is that's what it said in the subtitles is the American government, so I don't know, maybe...
I feel like maybe something we hear about at the end wouldn't have confused me so much if I'd gotten this part.
Maybe. Is there a reason that Aki slams her leg down on top of, like, their table?
I like to think she was just posturing, but I liked it. I wrote nice leg action.
And then she has to give away her gun, which she also slams down on the table.
Which is a very cool pose.
Yes, indeed. Honey is still dressed as a businessman at this point. She is on a swing, kind of swinging. At times like this, you need to believe in others. She needs the help of her friends to get this done.
I do have to point out, again, connecting the podcast to previous episodes, sad swinging businessman on a swing in a park. It's basically like the end of Ikeru, which is the other Kurosawa movie.
Bringing it all together. Nice.
Uh-huh. And I wrote, give this actress an award.
We join Sergei back at his apartment. He has invited Aki over to do some investigation work.
And to hit on her.
Work. And to hit on her, yes. He shows off some of the investigative work he has done on her, including getting her favorite sake and such.
That's when you call the police, answer your own phone, and then pop him in the head with a bullet.
Aki mentions that he overlooked a few things, including she hates journalists and she drinks alone. Thank you.
And she breaks both of those rules tonight. Woo!
Sergei starts getting, like, uncomfortably close to Aki at this point, and I don't understand why.
No, they never follow through with any of this other subtext there. Well, not even subtext at this point, just him being a pervert. We got a lot of them in this movie.
Honey arrives, and it kind of breaks up the action here. And Honey's just like, hey, we met again. It's fate. Let's team up. And Aki's like, nope. No thank you.
She's very resistant.
This might be my favorite part in the movie, Kristen. Honey goes to the table. I mean, it may have come across differently in the dub, so maybe I'm wrong. But she sits down and just starts drinking. And Aki's just like, well, wait a minute. How does she work with alcohol? Is that something she could do? And Sergei's just like, well, we'll see. And then it takes a good 10 to 15 seconds of her just kind of making like uncomfortable faces, like slight face twitches before just going
anime.
So Honey at this point, for some reason, she gets up and is just like, you know what? While I'm here, I should see what a man's room looks like, which I feel like, Kristen, feel like I've seen this trope before in Japanese television things where it's like seeing what a man's room looks like is like it's a thing.
It's a reconnaissance mission. Though, you know, there are also plenty of anime things where it's like a boy being like, well, I'm already in this person's house. What if I went and looked in her room? Ooh.
Honey heads into Seiji's room, which is all like plastered with pictures of Honey all over the place. And she doesn't seem to realize that this is odd as well.
Again, this is when you arrest him.
Pretty much. She also finds that He has 2 framed pictures of Aki behind his computer.
They're not very flattering pictures either.
No, they are not. No. I mean, hey, maybe that was all he could get. He is a journalist.
Yeah, so sneak pictures.
So Aki just cannot take it anymore at this point. Kristen, it is time for karaoke.
Great. So Honey uses Honey Flash so they can sing karaoke because this big fancy hotel suite does not have karaoke.
Aki specifically says, do that Honey Flash thing and make some karaoke. And then we get a karaoke montage, and they all pass out.
And I did write, I was just thinking this movie was missing a drunk karaoke scene, so check mark.
Time to cut back to Jill Tower. The butler is formulating a plan to bring Honey to them. And that's all we get out of that scene. Time for the next morning. Aki wakes up and she is, clear sort of normal drunken waking up like, oh man, I made a mistake last night waking up in a man's place.
And Joe, do you remember what Honey says in response to this?
Something, I know this leads to her saying something about picking up Aki's habits, but I don't quite remember what she says at the beginning, no.
Because in the dub, Honey sits up and goes, what a slut you are.
Okay. Oh my god. I don't think there's anything like that.
That's very judgmental.
That is, yeah, hey, geez. Yeah, Aki leaves because she's just like, no thanks, I'm gonna, go goodbye. And, before that, when Honey says that she's picking up on Aki's habit, she repeats as Aki is saying it, shut up and butt out, which is, I guess, her catchphrase.
Yes, that happens in the dub as well.
Good, wonderful. And then, yes, Aki leaves, and Honey doesn't really try to stop her, she just kind of goes, no. Oh, well.
And at this point I wrote, dude, there are still 3 fucking claws left. Can we get this movie going?
Oh, we're getting there, because Honey's a little concerned that Aki doesn't really like her very much, and Seiji's just like, Honey, you should just be Honey. Just be that Honey. Just be Honey. Honey up. Just Honey up. Come on.
Speaking of common things in, Japanese vernacular, blank is blank is a big one.
Yeah, that's a pretty... Did that come across in the dub as well?
I don't remember that part, but just from your notes, I completely understand, the context for that statement. I have vivid memories of playing Tales of Symphonia as a child in, 7th grade, and Lloyd being like, well, Colette, you're Colette. Colette's still Colette. And I'm like, what the fuck is he saying? Why does that sound so awkward? Very weird translations. A little bit too literal.
They get a call from the butler man, saying to come...
I thought your note said Butterman.
Nope. They get a call from the Butterman, saying to come to Jill Tower. And Kristen, as he is relaying his message, there are 2 good shots where the focus is more on Honey's ass and not him.
Yep. He's in the background, but it's mainly the booty. We haven't mentioned Honey's, regular day-to-day clothing is a white halter crop top with giant lapels and a white miniskirt.
Which I believe is a carryover from the anime. I think that's just Honey's normal...
Yes, it is.
Everyday look.
It looks very silly for a person in live action to wear.
It kind of does.
Bend over a computer desk in her big high heels for this announcement.
Formal attire is requested, of course, coming to Jill Tower, and at this point we find the cop goons manage to give Aki her gun back, and they have info on Seiji and reveal his true identity to her, but of course we don't see it.
Of course. I want to point out, there is no reason that one of the adoptees should just be able to hand wave it being like, oh, well, won't you get in trouble for getting me this gun? This is Japan. Not the United States. Here's a gun, by the way. And the adoptee's just like, paperwork.
Oh, well. You know what? That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes sometimes.
Yep.
Aki says thank you to them for the first time ever, and they're both just kind of like, you know what? Oh, we gotta let that sink in. Just gotta let that just wash over us. The thank you. The sound of thank you.
Take a mind picture.
Honey and Seiji leave. They split up at this point. Kristen, I don't know if we're, missing a scene here, but Honey says she needs a disguise, and then her and Aki just meet somewhere. Did they plan to meet in the China dresses?
I don't think so. I feel like Aki is just weirdly good at knowing where the hell Honey is going at any given time.
With the China dress as well.
They end up in a building under construction or something.
Something like that. And Honey's hair looks terrible. She has a tag still on her China dress. And Aki's like, what the fuck's going on? Why don't you just Honey flash? And Honey's just like, you know what? I was told I need to do more things for myself, so I decided using the Honey flash for disguises is cheating. Fucking what?
Sure. So Aki is like, well, your hair looks like garbage. So it looks like garbage trash that you fished out of the garbage and put on your head. So she sits her down in this weird building that they're in and braids her hair and puts it into 2 buns for her. And Aki talks about how she wants to be self-sufficient, so I guess she's really good at doing hair.
So hey, why not? And then Honey fixes Aki's glasses for her trouble, and she also learns that the glasses have no prescription. She's just wearing them to be cool.
Hey, Joe, I have a question.
FLCL?
No, as if that's the only series that's ever done that.
What is your question, Kristen?
How can she fix the glasses? There ain't no life in those glasses.
She fixed the glasses because she... Nanomachines, Kristen.
There ain't no life in those glasses.
Nanomachines. Doesn't matter.
That's not even how nanomachines work.
Nanomachines. Doesn't matter.
Okay, Ocelot.
How did Fortune not get hit by bullets, nanomachines? Doesn't matter.
Because she loved a lot. She
and
loved her dead gay boyfriend.
She loved her dead gay father.
Both of them. And I'm sorry, Vamp was bi. They stated very clearly.
I forgot who you were referring to. I just knew that her dad and Ocelot banged.
No, not Ocelot. Her dad and Vamp banged.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Why did I think her dad... No, it's because her dad and Ocelot were hanging out. That's why.
Yeah.
They probably banged.
Ocelot killed her dad.
They probably banged.
Ocelot probably banged everyone, let's be honest.
But we digress.
Yep, Metal Gear.
Aki still wants to, she still wants to do stuff on her own, essentially, so she's going off on her own way. Honey's going off on her own way. Sagey's going off on their own way. We join Gold Claw, who's just like, you know what? I can prove myself now, Sister Jill. I'm gonna do it. And Sister Jill's just like, nah, brah.
Sister Jill does the jerk-off motion towards Gold Claw, and then Gold Claw is dead.
Gold Claw drops into a pit, and we never see her again.
Yep, so... we now have 4 remaining villains.
So, Honey is waiting where the invitation told her to go. I forgot there were invitations under their door for this. So, maybe that's how they got one to Aki, because he sent 3 invitations as well. The butler man did.
Yeah.
Whatever, they're waiting where they told her to go, and Tokyo Tower suddenly starts, going up out of the ground, spinning. There's Jill Tower, a big old gold drill-looking thing that was underground, under Tokyo Tower, of course.
Of course.
A walkway extends for Honey to get in. The butler has a nice little phone that he takes out and calls Honey because they are quite far away from each other.
Boop, boop, ba-doop.
It makes the Kim Possible noise, Kristen.
I was gonna say, do you know that that's from Kim Possible?
I remember often getting the Kim Possible and the Power Rangers communicator noise mixed up.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me. And when she answered the phone, she would say, "What's the stitch?" I never watched that show.
I have never watched Kim Possible either.
Kim Possible is my happy days.
We found it, Kristen. Ron Stoppable is your Fonzie.
How did you see? Now I'm surprised you knew that.
I remember because his name's a pun, Kristen.
I know.
Honey wants to know, where's Dr. Itsugi? Where, and he's giant. He's giant. He's a giant. They turn him giant. I don't know, Kristen.
What the fuck is this movie?
I don't understand what happened. What happens here when he is a giant and he shows off a watch to Honey.
He's a big hologram, maybe?
Synergy, I guess.
I don't know.
He is giant, Kristen, and he's got a circlet on his head that I guess wiped his memories or something. And for some reason he shows off a watch, like a cool Apple Watch that Honey's father had, to her. And the watch...
It was your father's watch.
Kept it in my ass.
Ew. Why'd he keep it there? No.
I was doing Christopher Walken in Pulp Fiction.
I didn't get that reference, so it only upset me.
Don't you remember where he...
Was Christopher Walken in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, he has that, there's that scene where he talks to young Bruce Willis. Like, Bruce Willis as a child, Bruce Willis's character. And he's like, this is your father's watch.
Oh.
From Vietnam. He hid it in his ass.
I do remember that. The Bruce Willis scenes are the ones I remember the least from Pulp Fiction, unsurprisingly.
Understandably so. Don't really care about Butch's character arc that much.
Not really.
Anyway.
Yeah, with no context, that was a rough one for me. Also, your Walken impression needs some work. I understand there were only so many words in there, so you had to, really sell it.
I had to really force it out.
Yeah. If I was watch.
His asshole is keeping it in his ass.
It's a very thin line you walk between a walk-in impression and a drunk person impression. As fast and loose as we play our impressions, at least.
I almost turned into Tommy Wiseau again. That's how bad it was.
I'm wasted. I love you, darling.
Watching the ass. Anyway.
Watching the ass.
The butler guy is really confused because he's just like, wait a minute. I thought his memories were wiped. Why does he still have...
watching your ass?
Why does he have that watch in his ass? And Honey says that you can't steal love. Even if memories are gone, love remains. And Honey transforms, and there's some foreboding words from Butler Man. She starts running across the walkway, only to be stopped by Scarlet Claw.
The way that you wrote that, for some reason, you have it spelled completely right. There's nothing wrong with your notes. I thought it said Sheryl Crow.
Kristen, as we all know, the first cut is the deepest.
Baby, I know.
Baby, I know. The first thing that Scarlet Claw does is fire off like a mouth beam in classic tokusatsu fashion. Just that blows through some buildings, including where Honey works.
It's some spooky animation. It's not high quality, but it looks pretty cool.
It looks gross is what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Scarlet Claw threatens to blow Honey away with one of these fire beams. And here's where we get... I don't think this is the second time the anime type thing happens, but...
Well, she says that she's going to hit Honey with the beam, because when she first displays it, she makes a big circle through a bunch of skyscrapers, which seems very grim at first, but luckily a bunch of businessmen kind of lean up like, oh, I guess we have to take some time off now, so they're all fine. And she says that if Honey dodges the beam, then she'll destroy more buildings. So that's the threat, basically.
So she shoots her mouth beam at Honey, and Honey uses her sword like a baseball bat, and it even makes a baseball bat noise, even though it says in my...
Like home run in Smash Brothers.
A home run noise. The sound of aluminum hitting a ball that goes back and, blows her away. She looks all frazzled and shit. And poor Scarlet Claw, she looked pretty cool, but she didn't really get to do much. Because she runs away and meets up with Black Claw, Dan Green.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, ha 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 ha, great news, so Honey is following me.
And you're gonna kill her. And Black Claw's like, cool, great, and then he kills Scarlet Claw.
She says, kill her for me, kill her for me.
Hey, you're gonna be...
That was the noise of her tapping him on the nose. That's what the boop noise was. And so he kills her and says, you got your wish. I killed her.
Whoa, I killed her. Dead.
Dan Green,
you
vicious bitch.
Sly dog. And then he starts singing when Honey arrives. So Kristen, if you want to let me know, what does Dan Green singing sound like?
He's good at singing. It's just the fact that it's coming from also like a Dan Green voice. That is the difficulty with me, because in my mind it's just like, yep, there's Yami Yugi and he's singing.
That's the thing. Did he try to put on any other sort of affectation to his voice, or was it literally just Yami Yugi?
No, it's just fucking Dan Green.
Wonderful. So, all the theme song is basically him just, talking himself up. Again, the last song was about Sister Jill being great. This one's about Black Claw being great.
Uh-huh. Do I have a question?
Sure.
Was that slot for a microphone in his scary fight staff always there?
I didn't notice until he put the microphone back in there.
Great, me neither.
He says that he will omit the second verse for us. So, a dark cloud arrives sort of around the fighting area here. So we cut to Aki, who is seen just kind of walking around. I guess we forgot to mention, Sergei finds all the kidnapped women and then takes out his vial and is just like, aha, this will come in handy here. And then when we see Aki, she sees the women all running away. She's talking to Seiji on the phone, and he lets her know that all of the women running away...
He's like, I saved everyone!
He saved everyone! That's right, and... I believe at this point he also says that the red vial was anti-nanomachines, which, okay.
Whatever.
Honey and Black Claw still fighting. She gets slashed off of the tower and, flies into a building and then falls, and her ass breaks the glass windshield of some dude's car.
Yep, she stands up and goes, oh god, I'm sorry, and the facial expression of the man whose windshield she just broke might as well have said, it's cool, I got to ogle your ass.
Kristen, the subtitles that I was watching from were so kind to point out as well that the man in the car was in fact Go Nagai.
Wow, good for him.
Making a very Stan Lee-esque cameo in a movie about a property of his.
Great job.
Black Claw at this point does his Black Tornado, and Honey is sucked up into it. His Black Tornado, of course, being his torso spinning to create all of the black smoke that is around into a tornado.
Yeah, sure. So there's some more bad, like, CG stuff that makes it look like it's an anime, and it's ugly, and I don't want to think about it anymore because it's gonna haunt my nightmares tonight.
It's pretty rough, but we don't have too much more of that to deal with, thankfully. Aki confronts the butler man, and she's like, hey...
The butter man.
She confronts the butter man, and she's just like, hey, let the professor go. And the Butterman is like, well, we got one condition. You gotta put me on popcorn.
Ew. Is that like a sex thing?
No, I'm the Butterman. It's what? No, get away from me, weirdo.
The hopefully not popcorn-based condition is accepted.
And she's taken off. I believe Seiji's there to be like, no, Aki, don't, and she's taken away at that point, right?
Nope.
Honey is rapidly losing energy. Black Claw still spinning his torso as he gets closer, disarming Honey, and she is very nearly out of energy. She don't got no onigiri on her. What's she gonna do? What's she gonna do, Kristen?
Oh, I got it, Joe. So he is spinning, and she blocks some of his attacks, then her sword gets thrown away, she can block no longer, and then Black Claw goes, no weapons, no friends, no hope. Take all that away, and what's left? And Honey goes, me, and catches the sword, like the season 2 finale of Buffy.
That is not how it happens at all, unless that's how it happened in Buffy.
That's how it happened in Buffy.
Okay, I thought so. I was like, did this happen in the dub? Like, I don't understand.
Nope. That was a literal quote from what happens in the Buffy episode. Honey just asks her dad for help and is able to catch the sword.
Yes. Black Claw starts spinning out of control, but this doesn't actually kill him. Honey falls over at this point. She is at her limit. Black Claw staggers back over and just goes to either grab the choker or, like, choke her or, like, kill her, I guess.
He's going for it.
But he gets Honey Boomeranged in his fucking face. So, Honey Boomerang making an appearance back here, killing Dan Green. Good the fuck bye.
Yep.
Honey trudges on at this point as the clouds go away. She makes her way to the butler, who shows that the professor has already been released and replaced, and now, the condition was that Aki has been captured in the professor's place.
I don't get it. Do they just need someone that Honey will be willing to sacrifice herself for?
Maybe, I think. That's what it seems like.
Because otherwise, what's the end game?
Because, yeah, Honey could have just been like, oh, okay, thanks for saving humanity there, Aki, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So, the butler also slashes Honey with some attack that, like, breaks her costume in the front.
But she withstands it otherwise, and she's still, like, on her last leg here, so she's not going to be fighting anyone. And the Butterman is like, well, you might be able to take some cool light whip things, but if I did that to your friend, she probably wouldn't do so well. So Aki is like, Honey, get out of my life. But Honey is like, nope, martyr time.
Because Sister Jill appears. Honey has the same powers of eternal life as Jill. Why waste it on humans? And she is brought over to Sister Jill. She is restrained by, like, psychic rings. Honey likes being human, but nope, not anymore. She's gonna be a plant person now.
To be a hero plant!
Jill's gonna absorb Honey. That's pretty much the plan. Honey's fine with that, so long as Aki is released. That is the condition now. We've done a super switcheroo on absorption, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what? To their credit, as soon as Honey's like, yeah, I'll do it, they release Aki.
Hey, you gotta give credit to Panther Claw, murderous evil tokusatsu organization, who at least has...
True to their word.
Keep their promises. Good for them.
Good people. Good guys.
Dropped me down a hole. Good guys.
Oh, so good. Tried to cut me in half. Good guys.
Honey's body starts getting all, like, planty and shit, and Aki starts crying for her to no avail. Seiji arrives and he's like, Honey, you gotta find the love of your father. Or something.
And of your girlfriend. Ow!
So then Stormer grabs Rio's gun.
And she goes to save Kimber.
All he has is one bullet, but that's more than enough to kill anything that moves. So Aki takes off her glasses at this point, and Aki, a very good shot, takes aim. Pow! One bullet. right into the neck. Right, it killed her. She's dead. Goodbye, honey. You're dead.
Yeah, it is really lucky that that choker is made out of, like, vibranium or whatever. Because it pushes the button and ricochets, I don't know, somewhere. Not into Honey, which is the important thing.
Right, yeah. It activates Honey's choker here, which, I guess breaks sort of the hold that Sister Jill has on her. Honey has a vision holding hands with her father. You could tell because he's wearing the watch that was in his ass.
See, we had the option to take out all of that stuff about the ass watch, but now because we've mentioned it so many times, it has to stay in.
Sister Jill's like, oh no! I didn't account for love! Ugh!
Yeah, the sequence where it shows Honey holding her dad's hand is just like the end of Harry Potter.
Sister Jill's like, well shit, I need some love, why can't I get some of that? And Honey's just like, you know what? All you need to do is love something. And Sister Jill's like, cool, and then burns away.
I don't remember that happening in the dub.
What happened in the dub?
Not much. I don't seem to remember this dialogue. I mean, if there are no mouths actively moving, the dub doesn't strictly need to translate anything.
True, so that might have all just been thoughts, I don't remember. So if they were just kind of looking at each other and then Sister Jill burns away. There we go, very good. Honey says goodbye to the vision of her father and then just kind of collapses.
And Aki is there and starts crying, and Honey is like, I thought you hated women that cry. And Aki's like, shut up!
Butt out! And then they both start crying on each other.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm Okay starts playing in the background.
That joke will make so much sense once we get to season 2 of Gem. Anyway, yeah, at this point, I wrote in my notes, so someone gonna pop this butler or what?
No, the butler is sitting there. He is mourning for Sister Jill, and he gives Honey the warning that eventually she will end up like Sister Jill as well. And Honey's just like, nah, Honey love world.
Princess Honey love bird.
The butler cries for Sister Jill. He will serve her for all eternity. And then Jill Tower starts fucking exploding, and the Butterman, I guess, dies, pretty much, right?
Well, in the dub, he says to them, now go in peace. And I wrote, amen. And then I also wrote, I'm sure he could get a butling job somewhere else. I don't know why he has to go all nihilistic, but I guess that's his decision.
You know, he served Sister Jill through 2,222 incarnations, so, you know what? He's just got to kind of ride it out.
It's too much trouble to switch jobs.
Tokyo Tower falls back to Earth, none the worse for wear, after Jill Tower fucking explodes. Everybody is watching from afar as Tokyo Tower is back in place, and Seiji's like, I'm glad it's over.
Except it's not!
Oh my god, wait a minute. That vial that you had, Sergei, was it supposed to be an anti-nano machine to capture Honey?
And he goes, yep.
But for some reason he didn't, I guess, so whatever. And Aki is just like, Honey, don't you know this man's true identity? He's an NSA agent from America! And Honey's like, yeah, okay.
I can't believe how well we accidentally set up this joke of him being a man named Sergei, who totally probably worked for Russia, but then also America, Mr. President. I'm saying he's Ocelot and he's gonna bone down with everyone.
Aki's just like, well, wait a minute, you knew this about him and you still trusted him? And Honey's like, I thought, he said he was on my side, so fucking why not?
So that worked.
The cop buddies return at this point, and Aki's like, you know what? Thanks again, guys. I couldn't have done it without your help, and thank you, Honey, and thank you, world. I'm so gay!
Hooray!
And Honey's just like, I am that as well! And they look at each other and they thumbs up, and Seiji's like, you know what? This is cool and all. Why don't we start a detective agency?
And you know what? If this will help the story wrap up nicely and gaily, perfect.
So it's decided. Aki leads Seiji over to the cop friends. They all start talking and introducing each other to each other. And Aki invites Honey, and she's just like, yeah! And then they all go together. The end. Have a gay old time!
Thanks, Fred Flintstone!
The end. That is the end of Cutie, Honey.
Yes, it is.
Kristen, how did you feel about this movie? Because I feel like there are a lot of things where if we knew more about the series, it might have been explained better.
Yeah, who knows? There's a lot to unpack because at the very beginning, it definitely made a very bad impression on me because I was not expecting the, kind of, again, if I saw the storyboards for this movie, they would look like drawings from an anime.
More than likely, yes.
And doing that with real people makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it looks weird, and even by 2004 standards, it's not the best. But again, as someone who is a veteran of tokusatsu and knowing how bad the CG can get with something like a Rider series, it is better than normal.
Yeah, so considering, like, all the costumes were really good, like, the story was fine, and, like, for something that I know was an ongoing, like, series, I feel like it was pretty cohesive altogether.
It probably rushed through some parts, I'm sure, in the manga or when all of the things happened, that the fights with the various claws did not take place quite so quickly. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe the claw people that we saw weren't the only ones. Maybe they got, like, Monster of the Week shit going on, and the only ones that they decided to add in were the most iconic, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the doctor professor man, the silent manzel in distress, actually, like, spoke.
Maybe he had a character. That would have been nice, and he didn't just, show a watch and shit and have a circlet on his head. And I don't know. I'm not too big on this movie. As I said, I kind of expected more from Hideaki Anno, being that he's a, big, prolific anime guy. I knew that this was sort of a fan servicey kind of series, so I'm not expecting Eva or anything. I'm not expecting deep psychological drama.
Oh yes, I was just going to say, because we all know that Evangelion is like the pinnacle of anime.
But no, it was fine. It's good for what it was. Maybe this wasn't the best thing to make a first impression.
It has made me more interested in the anime.
Right. Yeah, that's the only thing, is I would be like, maybe I should watch the anime, because maybe it'll be a bit better than this. Not that this is bad, it's just like, eh.
And yeah, one of the other reasons I'm interested is because I went to Google, found an image of Cutie, Honey, and Aki next to each other, and then sent it to my friend Eileen, and I was like, we're gonna cosplay this, right?
Wonderful. So, that'll be good. Keep a lookout for that eventually. God knows when that'll... Hey, put it on the back burner, right?
Can't make any promises, considering work 6 days a week, so I'm not doing much cosplay these days.
Understandable. So that was, we talked about it a little bit. I do believe that E had some ground there in terms of Gem and Cutie Honey being similar, where if we just if we mashed them together into one thing, it might be, we might actually have the pinnacle, Kristen.
Right, seriously. E had good instincts of this being, like, in our wheelhouse very much.
Agreed. And hey, maybe in the future we'll take a look at one of the OVAs or something.
Yeah, sure. We're, again, so many open doors. Put it on the back burner. Let's simmer for a bit.
I was going to reference the back burner again, so I'm glad that you did. Anyway, now is the point in the evening when we list off all of the fun contact things. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at CWTApod. You can follow me at Octopus, that's AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirl, TM, like trademark.
Oh, you're taking my cadence. You're stealing it from me.
Whatever!
You can find us on the iTunes, on the SoundCloud, on the Stitcher Radio. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You can also drop us a line, cwtapod@gmail.com, where you can tell us about being a crazy plant monster with a butterman and the various monster women you've baked to death by hugging them, and if their French accent sounded anything like the Countess de Voisin. Next week, Kristen, is our Halloween episode. In any case, it's not really going to be so much spooky and scary. Maybe. I don't know. This is a movie that... Have you seen the movie that we'll be doing next week, Kristen?
Nope.
Huh, because you're taking charge on this one, and I gotta believe in you here, because it's your thing. Do what you want to do now. So it's not your general kind of Halloween-y kind of movie, but it's still maybe spooky, scary. I don't know. We'll see. Hold on to your hats for it. For the Can't We Talk About podcast, my name is Joe.
I am Kristen.
And join us next week when we'll step into a world of Halloween terror. Or not.
Fan service is in the mail.